So yesterday's video was on Windows XP and the glory days of the XP operating system. But before that, when Windows was first starting, when Microsoft was starting, some of our older clients might remember Windows 1.0. I certainly don't remember it. It was before my time. Kind of, sort of, before my time. It wasn't very popular. There was Windows 1.0, Windows 2, Windows 3. Windows 3 is where I kind of remember it, and then Windows 3.1 for work groups. I remember that. And that was because, I was working in a profession that's what they used. And it was kind of the good old days. But before that, let's go back even further. How many of you still remember good old DOS? Yes, good old-fashioned black and white DOS, or it might have been amber and black or green and black, but a DOS. If you're not familiar with DOS, that's perfectly all right. It was a long time ago, but you do still see kind of the remnants of it still to this day. So when your computer first starts up and you're seeing the indicators on the upper right hand corner of the screen that's in black and white, more for the older laptops now than the new ones, because the new ones have all gone GUI, graphical user interface. But if you still see that, or if you want to see it, I think when your computer is booting up, you can usually hit escape or one of the function keys, and it'll show you those what a DOS based GUI system looked. And if you're not familiar with it, you've seen this in some of my previous videos. The closest thing we can get to it nowadays is the good old-fashioned command prompt. And this is a DOS window. You may even hear me use it call it as a DOS window. But this was DOS. And believe it or not, this is all there used to be to a computer. I mean, you had your physical tower, and it was controlled by floppy drives. And yes, if you don't know what floppy drives is, the ongoing joke is, they took it's the physical form of a save button. Yeah, no, that's the older versions were the reason why they were called floppy, because they were 5 1/4 and they were actually floppy. That's where that came from. But yeah, in the days of old, before Windows, you had the command prompt, or DOS, I should say. And I think the last real good version of DOS that was out is 6.2.2. And from there, you could do things that, even by today's standards, if you could find a computer that will still run DOS, DOS did one thing very well. And I joke about it because this is what tablets and phones do. This is why I tell people, phones and tablets are not as powerful as a computer, because computers can do multiple things simultaneously. In fact, at any given time, your computer is running 30, 40, 50, 60 operations in the background. In this case, I've got these 3 that are actively running that I'm aware of, but there's 35 background processes running, and then there's 84 Windows processes running. It just goes on and on. So this particular computer is running like 130 different operations in the background, not including the virtual machines. So there's running like 134 operations in the background at any given time. Excuse me. DOS did not do that. DOS did one thing, and it did it very well, depending upon who programmed it and so on and so forth. So if you have ever seen an old DOS-based program, you may have seen it on photos. If you're old enough to remember DOS programming, DOS did one thing and did it very well. It was very efficient, it was quick, it was responsive. And then we got away from it with Windows because, we wanted a graphical GUI interface and Microsoft gave it to us. But DOS, yes, DOS. DOS does one thing only, and does it very well. So, yeah, there's something to be said about the old DOS systems. And so when you're looking at your phones and tablets now, kind of look at them and understand that in the background, they may be running 3 or 4 operations simultaneously, but they do it in the same fashion as the old Windows did it, which is time slicing or priority time slicing. So the app or program that's running in the forefront that got the priority of the processing power in the RAM. Anything else in the background ran really, really slow because it was not in primary focus. Like I said, DOS was a creature of a whole different thing, and it only did one thing at a time, very well, very efficiently. And so, in a way, phones and tablets kind of do that, or at least the early versions of Windows. And I hate to say that because I'm sure if Google is listening, they're probably going to say, no. Phones do one thing and one thing very well. Same with tablets. If you get a phone call, the phone incoming and outgoing subsystem runs in the background. And so a hook goes in there. So if a call comes in, it makes it the priority. But generally, if you're playing a game, looking at your Facebook, that is your primary app at that moment, and everything else in the background runs a lot slower. Just that's how it works. But DOS, like I said, back in the days of DOS did one thing very well, and that's all it ever did was one thing and one thing very well. So it was very efficient at it too. So yep, just a stroll down memory lane because yesterday we went and seen Windows XP, and I talked a little bit about Windows 98. It was only fair that I had to bring up DOS. Like I said, this is what a DOS window looked like, kind of, sort of. This is probably the closest thing you're going to get to it is command prompt window. But yeah, DOS, good old DOS, very efficient at what it did. As long as it was written properly, executed well, yeah. Programs written in this language or in this time period, when it just came to sheer brute force, yeah, most of the programs written here would still rival programs today. It's just they can only do it one at a time, where Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 10, you could probably run 20, 30, 40, or as you've seen in the task manager that I brought up, I have 130 some odd tasks that are running in the background. So, but yeah, DOS. For those of us remembering it, good old days, right up there with Windows XP. So if you've never experienced it, go talk to an old fart who remembers the days of DOS. So anyways, if you found this enjoyable, like, share, subscribe. If you don't have a Google account, there's our Facebook page. You can go over there and like our Facebook page, and that way you get updates when videos drops. Need computer services? There it is, the phone number. Give us a call. Always call me first before coming over so we can make sure that someone's here. And, if you have any questions, you can always give me a call too. Find us on Facebook. Leave a comment down below. So, anyways, I'll talk to you all guys later. Have a great one.